All right, thank you for joining us, YouTube, and reaching out with Eddie. If you would, subscribe and like this channel at your earliest convenience. So today we also have an email address if you want to ask any questions or anything. Reaching out with Eddie at yahoo.com. And our website is Reaching Out with Eddie. So starting off today, the topic of discussion is, what do you think we need to do in our local communities to make things better across this nation and locally in the city that we're in right now? We have failing school systems. We have issues with crime, issues with you name it. I mean, the list goes on and on. So we would like for you to send us some emails if you have any questions or any comments on, some problems that you're having in your local communities, and maybe we can come up with some solutions. So what are some solutions to the problems in our African American communities and communities across this nation? First of all, economics is a major thing in our communities. What we see is there's a very large gap between the African American communities and other communities. But if we put our resources together and sit down and talk and come up with solutions, then we can work together. We see this happening all across the nation. It is a movement, and I'm very proud of those brothers and sisters out there who are making this happen and putting information out there, making it available to people in rural areas and other areas, so we can have this information using these social media platforms or whatnot, because we need to do a lot to save our children and make our communities better for them in the long run. If anybody have any questions or have any comments or things that you would like to speak on today, then like I said, you can always send us an email at reachingoutwithEddie@yahoo.com, and we will try to respond to all of those emails, those questions, and those comments. So the first thing that I had somebody ask me today was, what do we think the solutions are to, us having a failing school system in our local communities and across the nation? What can we do? Man, it's hundreds of different things that I feel like we can do, but one of the things that I think that's very important, that's vital to the survival of our community and, us living a different life is, me and being present in the schools, volunteering your time, being a father figure, a role model, a teacher, somebody that reads to our children, teach them how to read, after school programs and effective after school programs. And that was just, one solution to the problem that I thought would really be relevant, since we often hear about our single African-American mothers in our communities that don't necessarily have either the resources or don't necessarily have males present in their children's life. So instead of us bashing, the parent, then let's sit down and figure out how we can implement programs and how we can solve the problem. A lot of times we talk about the problems, but we need to talk more about the solution. When I was coming up, we had villages. I didn't have a father in the household with me. My grandmother raised me, but it was men in the community that taught me how to work, how to fish, how to cut grass, how to use a wrench, how to shave. I was actually taught by, I say he's a mentor of mine now, actually taught me how to drive. My grandmother didn't have transportation. She did not have a car. She didn't even have license. But he took out the time to teach me how to drive. I got my learner's permit, and I had a driver's license. And, if it wasn't for that man taking out that time, I probably would have been a 21, 22-year-old male without a driver's license, or probably even an ID. But, we would walk home from school, and, men would stop us as young boys and have conversation with us and tell us, what not to do. I often tell this story about a young man. At that time, he was a young fella to us anyway. Of course, we were young, so we thought he was an old man, but he wasn't at the time. But one of my best friends and I, he would talk to us about old school music. Okay, so I didn't really have any idea about old school music. I grew up in a church household. My grandmother wasn't really going for that secular music at that particular time, right? So I didn't know anything about old school music for the most part. She didn't really listen. Most of the time it was gospel with her. But so I walk up to my best friend's house and he was a DJ. He really got into the old school music piece, and he would always have these new albums. Stevie Wonder, the Dells, of course, representing our hometown, David Ruffin. So we would listen to these old school jams, and because of him, we got turned on to that piece. And then it was also a brother that lived down the street from us that was into greyhound dogs. And, in the neighborhood, the community I grew up in, we didn't know anything about greyhound dogs, right? But, seeing him with greyhound dogs, and he talked to us about the business of it. So that introduced us to opportunities that we could take to have our own business. Of course, we would go cut grass, pick up cans and whatnot. But those men were very important to teaching us the rules of manhood, even teaching us the things that we shouldn't do, some of the mistakes that they made that, we didn't have to make or bump our heads the same way. So that was very instrumental in my development as a man. And I'm thankful for that. And I know that our children that don't have males present in their space most definitely need to have, those men present. So one of the solutions to that problem to me is, us being present and not only talking to our young males and females. They need male presence as well. Not only talking to them about going to school and getting good grades, but how that is relevant to their everyday life. Making that important to them, and why is that important? Why is school really important to me when right now I need something? Teaching them about investing in themselves, which is the education piece. And as you learn, not only learn, but teach. If you have little brothers or little sisters, then you can go home, and because, now you're literate, you can read and write, and you have a clear understanding on how to study, then you can start your, 2, 3, 4-year-old brothers and sisters with reading and writing as well. So I think the male presence is very important in our communities. Positive models. People say role models or whatnot, but it's a positive model. People learn from what they see more than necessarily what they hear. If I see you walking a certain path, then as a young man, I'm probably going to mock your style, or I'll never forget a lot of the young men in my community. I mocked their styles. It was one brother named Junior, man. I thought he was him and Block, a brother named Block. I thought they were one of the freshest dressed guys in the community, man. And so when I got old enough to purchase my own gear, and I made it my business to kind of mock and imitate what they did. And our children would do the same thing. But that's one solution to that particular problem. We do have failing school systems. We need after-school programs. We need males to be present. Our children see our black women all day. They see, teachers all day. They see their mom when they get home all day, but they don't really see the presence of a male that's concerned about them and could chastise them in a different way than mom does, currently in this day. So I believe that is, one solution to the problem. Of course, you could dig a little deeper and go into some other things as far as, the school board, the curriculum, the choices that are made in our school system for our children. But, the question is, why are our children failing, and what can we do about it? How do we solve that problem? And So, Mr. Eddie has arrived, and I don't know what he wants to talk about today, but that was a question that was asked to me earlier today, and I felt like it was something that needed to be commented on. You know, what is the solution to the problem of our, failing school system? How can we do something about it? And if you don't have time, then I'm quite sure you have resources. So, invest in a program, invest in something in your local communities across the nation to help with this problem. Men, volunteers, step up, man. Show these boys, what a man look like. I think that's very important. So, Mr. Hope.
Yeah. Good evening, people. I want to welcome you to Reaching Out with Eddie. And I want to thank TC for stepping in. I was just a little bit late. But I wanted to point out to you, did you touch upon the fact that John Compton's contract was not renewed this year?
I really didn't. I just talked about, our failing school system or whatnot.
Uh, One of the things I see with that, and just to continue on with this line of thinking, with this type of conversation, is that we don't have enough teachers that are more like us. When I went to school, all of my administrators was black, my teachers was black, so I had black role models. I had people to look up to, people that I wanted to be like.
Correct.
And a lot of the children don't respect their mom at home. If they don't respect their mom at home, that's the significant person in their life, and they're not going to respect the people that are, that's trying to bring them to that next level, teaching them to be a good citizen. So it's a lot of things that's done happen in our school system.
But didn't disrespect our mothers?
No, we did not.
And we had a whole village. We had other people in our space. We didn't disrespect our mothers. So what do you think? What do you think happened with drop? Was the ball dropped? Do you think? What shifted in our communities? So something had to shift for a young man to feel like he was going to disrespect his mother, because it wasn't happening. We was coming. Mom would check you, or an uncle or somebody down the street. Even you don't disrespect your mom or anybody else in the community. If you were doing something, you made it your business that you didn't let the elders see it being done, because they would get you, as well as we had cell phones then, man, but for some strange way, man, I don't know how before you made it home, your mother already knew what you did 2 blocks up. I don't know what they were doing, man, but they made it happen. And that village, they all stepped up, and everybody played their role, and we respected them. I mean, it was very few young men that I knew that were raised up at their mom. Very, very few when we were coming up in the 80s. So that just really wasn't going to happen too often. But now we're here where that's a very valid point that you made, Mr. Holt, about the children not even respecting the mother. So how do we combat that issue as a community? I said earlier that I feel like the male's presence needs to be put back into our communities. We need to step up, volunteer, have some activities and programs for our children, so they can have that balance with male and female authority.
I agree with you, but one of the problems with that is that we don't have enough males. See, this system was created a long time ago to be exactly where it is right now. And the reason why I say that is because most of the men that you're talking about, the male role models, are either dead or in jail. And we have a lot of things going with black-on-black crime. West, they listen at. I don't have a problem with any type of music, but hip-hop music teaches our children how to be violent against each other. Now, actually, it's just entertainment, and our children doesn't know that. And so they pick up the gun. But again, we're acting out in a manner that's been directed for us long time ago, right, where we can be against each other, not for each other. They have replaced our children. All of the school teachers have been replaced with white counterpart. When I was getting my master's degree, they denied me admission into the program. I couldn't get into the master's program, not because I wasn't smart enough. I was just too dark. I was too black. They don't want black men in higher education. They do not. They don't. They want us if we're not like step and fetch, and if we're not lockstep in with the system, they don't want us. They don't want me. They don't want you. They don't want strong black men. They don't want that strong black male figure. If if you're strong and you're black, the whole system is going to be against you. It's going to keep you from making money. It's hard for you to make an income. It's hard for you to do anything if you're a strong black male. They want you to take flight and leave. They want you to leave. And if you don't leave, then you have to stay here. The system is set up against you in such a way so that if you don't leave and you stay here, they'll economically destroy you. If they destroy you economically, most people are not strong enough to accept that or take that, and they'll commit crime. Now they got you where they want you. They got you in the court system. And once they get you in the court system, they don't let you go, people.
Oh, man.
John Compton's contract was not renewed. He should have been fired a long time ago. I'm just telling you the truth. Craig Houston, he's running for supervisor. That's my boy, you know. He's running against Raymond Newell. But him and I differ than that. One thing he said that is, and I agree with, is that when you fire someone, you should have someone ready to take that person's place. This is a school. This is the Meridian Public School is a system. It's like a city in itself that does not have an attorney. So they have not put a person in place to take his place. Now, I say he should have been fired a long time ago. I have to agree with him and I disagree with him because I really don't care. I'm just telling you the truth. They should have gotten rid of him because he's the attorney that was on board when our children was leaving the school system going to jail. He's the attorney.
Prison pipeline.
Yeah, school to prison pipeline. He was the one that set up that system and allowed for that system to take place. So he should have been fired a long time ago. Okay, let's talk a little bit more. We're talking about the school system. How about fire every damn body? How about get rid of the superintendent? I mean, in schools, it was an F last year. It's hard to come from an F to an A. So why was she? See, this is the only system that I know that's in place where we promote incompetence. So if all these people that are in place, you have all these PhDs, these doctors that are in place, but our children are failing. These are your children. These are my children. These are our children that are failing. These are your children. This is your family and your friends that's failing. They're the ones that are not able to pass the exit exam. So much so they had to do away with it. This system was set up in 69, 70 under Dr. Todd. That's when Witherspoon was the school board attorney. Witherspoon, who's John Compton's grandfather. See, it was passed on to him. So he should have been gone a long time ago. And that's when the school system, when you and Derek both, I'm sorry, you and Dice. That's the Dice man, folks. But anyway, when y'all went to school, y'all went to school in an unfair system. When Ed Lynch was a school board attorney, I forever was on him to change it back to a 10-point grading system. You know how the grading system was, where a 64 was an F or something like that, you know? And it was set up like that for our children because when we was forced to go to Meridian High, forced to go to Northwest with those white students, they changed the grading system. I understand now, I'm not going to treat my child like I treat your child. All the black kids that went to those school systems end up failing. You know, they end up kicked out of school, or either you say you go there, you got a C average. When they change the grade, man, you can see how this will set you up. That if you have a C, and when the new school system changed, that C went to an F. Wow, man, a lot of people quit school. Even I didn't finish school, folks. Well, I got it. Yeah, some of you, my classmates, had to let me brag on myself. I started working on my PhD pretty soon. I know a lot of y'all think y'all better than me, but you might be better than me in your head, but not in my head. Since I'm talking about that, TC, I got to tell you about the church. You know, I play in the church. I play guitar. I play rhythm and lead guitar in church, and I've been doing so for more than a year. I really enjoy it. Music for me relaxes me, and I like to make people feel good with the music that I play, and I'm very good at that. But one thing that I saw, I was told that there's over 400 black churches in Lauderdale County. Over 400 black churches. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's too many. You can go, and I was talking earlier, that you can go on just about every other street corner. It's either a church or a liquor store. In our community now, how about, I wouldn't even say that you have 10% of that amount white churches in it. And that's how they keep us divided and keep us separated. I sent some invitation out to some churches, you know, to play on our music program because, say, a friend of mine, Michael Carlisle, was doing a music appreciation for him. And I sent it to Mount Zion. I sent it to New Prospect. None of these people showed up nor even would come and send it to, hey, we got your invitation. Thank you for inviting us. We're doing something that day. Well, didn't even say anything. So I've concluded just by seeing a lot of those churches think that they're better than the other ones. And we've been invited to churches and haven't been invited again. Maybe they don't like the type of music we play. Oh, we blues it up, we jazz it up. I don't mind telling you. But that's one thing, is the ministers in the community have failed the black community.
So let's say the ministers in the community decide to sit at a round table and have a discussion. What do you think those topics of discussion need to be that could benefit and help the African American community?
If you look at 400 black churches in Lauderdale County, you're talking about easy. If I didn't give them a dime, at least $250,000 every Sunday, every Monday morning that's going into white banks. And they could take that money and empower themselves. See, what we're doing is that we will not do anything to empower ourselves. We won't do anything to make life better for ourselves or our people. Every other race of people do that but us.
Correct.
We take all of our money and put it in white banks. White banks that will not give us a house loan. White banks that will not hire us.
Business loans
Or anything like that. But we take all that money. How about keeping that money? How about keeping it? Imagine how much money that is in one. That's $1 million a month.
Correct.
Easy. I say it's a lot more than that. I'm just being somewhat conservative. And everybody eats on us.
Even if it's less than that, with the economic plan and structure in place, we could really make some moves. Instead of having all of these issues and problems, we could solve a lot of those problems in our community.
And they don't
with
do
those
anything.
Resources.
And they don't do anything with the money. It's just like storing money. Just storing it. They pay the ministers. I know one minister told me he was making $900 a Sunday. Some ministers make $1,500 a Sunday. That's more money than the average person. I say that's more money than a college graduate make. So why is it that I think people think that they're paying God, they're buying their way into heaven, but the only thing they're doing is just perpetuating the problem that we're having, the many ills that we have in the black community. Our children are not being educated. They're not learning proper decorum, how to respect each other. They're not prepared economically. They're not even prepared to take on a family, yet they're having families. So what are we going to do? Man, it's broken. The system is broken. They destroyed us with the 13 Amendments. They gave us the freedom. And like Stoker Carmichael said, Kwame Ture, like he said, nobody can give you your freedom. How can you give me my freedom? Yeah. How's it yours to give to me? Exactly. Who are you?
Exactly.
But it's just, it goes back so far. And then the first race ride being here and not standing up at that particular time, it was one person that killed the judge. That's what started it. They want to tear all these histories down. How about embracing your bloody history, Meridian? How about you do that? How about you show them Lauderdale County Courthouse. This is where a black man killed the first white judge. This is where the first race riot took place in America. And we're talking about 5 or 6 years after the Civil War ended. How about this guy? They couldn't get him, so they go and they destroy Black Meridian. They burned down all the black businesses and killed about 30 people. That's that Macklemore Cemetery where they have them buried at, along with the white folks that died from yellow fever. And the reason why they're buried there because they had yellow fever, and white folks couldn't go and treat them because it was very contagious for white folks, but not for black folks. It was none of my ancestors treating them. I don't believe it was any of yours, because I wouldn't have done it. I would have just watched them all die. I'm just telling you the truth, because if you done beat me, you done enslaved me, you done killed me, you done burnt my town down, I'm not that forgiving person. I'm just not at all. Some of you might not like some of the things that we talk about here, but we're going to be realistic. I'm trying to be nice. I'm going to try not to get so upset. So you're going to be able to tell when I'm upset, because I'm going to get kind of quiet. Because I don't want you to hate me, because you hated me before. I don't want you to hate me now. I really don't care if you do, but I don't want you to hate me. I want you to hear my message, because I think the message is very important.
That's solid.
I want to talk about...
you don't have to agree with me, but you most definitely can hear me out. That's just another level of respect.
All right. I want to tell you people that you can call in. The number to call in is 601-527-531. 5318. I'm going to tell it to you again, 601-527-5318. You can always call in, and you can have an opposing point of view. You can disagree with me. You can enlighten me. You can always call in on this show here. And I hope I want to hear somebody calling me from Europe one day, because even the Chinese can see this program, which is really good. I want to talk about Wayman Newell, people. The reason why I want to talk about Wayman Newell is because Wayman Newell is a supervisor for Lauderdale County. He's your representative in District 2. District 2 was created by the Justice Department for a black person. About 12 years ago, we elected Wayman Newell. That was the one time I did vote for him, because I was dissatisfied with Jimmy Smith. See, sometimes you can get elected officials and they just run all over you like Donald Trump is doing and think they can do what they want to do. That's the reason why people, you got to look at their report card. What do you think about that, T? See, we got to start looking at people's report card. What is it that you've done? But now, I grant you, Wayman Newell is the best damn graveyard cleaner this side of the Mississippi. I'm just telling you, you ain't gonna beat that Bama cleaning a graveyard. He can clean a graveyard. If he was a grave digger, he'll be the best grave digger this side of the Mississippi. Now, is that a reason for us to vote for him? Come on, people.
But when you talk to people, can they tell you their reason for voting for him?
They say he keep that graveyard clean up there on 10th Avenue.
And that's the one and only thing
that's all they can say.
So they don't hold him accountable at all for anything else.
They don't. Oh, he brought me some gravel. He said I can call him anytime I have a problem. And sure enough, I call him up and he answered the phone. Now, the problem could be that they ain't picked up my trash. The problem could be I need some gravel in my driveway. But what about our children? What about our children? Our children are not getting into that money. Wayman Newell gets $1 million. All the supervisors, they have $4 million to spend as they want to. Wayman Newell has $1 million in his discretionary fund to spend any way that he wants to. Okay. He does not spend any of that money in the black community. $1 million? Well, how much gravel can $1 million buy? How many graveyards can you clean with $1 million? How about the other graveyard up on 10th Avenue up there? Let's see, I'm gonna tell you what it is. That's 24th and 10th Avenue. There's a graveyard right there. It needs cleaning, Wayman. You're the best graveyard cleaner. Why don't you go clean that one? I don't know anybody in that one either. Oh, wait a minute. Let's go down to 34th Avenue. There's a couple of graveyards right there, Wayman Newell. Why don't you go there and clean those? Oh, wait a minute. I know another one that is over. It's a graveyard. If you leave 31st Avenue, you know the playground there?
Correct.
And you go, it's a little passway through. That's a graveyard over in there too. I think it's a black graveyard. But anyway, Wayman Newell, you ain't cleaning any of those. If you care so much about cleaning out graveyards, won't you clean all of them up and make it look like the one on 10th Avenue? And I still would not vote for you. People, how can we vote for him when the Velma Young Center was built? He didn't put one penny toward it and has not been there since it's been built. Maybe he was there when they was cutting the ribbon to take accolades for something that he didn't have in. He don't care anything about your children. Well, we could have had, what's that we could have had at Highland Park? Was it a soccer complex? A soccer? They had all that on the table. They was getting ready to pay for it, and he became the president, and he voted it down. He wouldn't do anything, so Highland Park still looking the same way.
They had the resources to put something in there.
They had the resources, but go out there on what's that, Highway 30, is that Highway 39?
Highway 39.
Yeah, go out there and look at those parks. Look at all the other ballparks that's in the white communities and see how those look. Just go and look out in the county what he's doing, but what he has not done in your community. It's time for Wayman Newell to go, people. He pays folks. I know for a fact that he paid Harrison Lewis, the late Harrison Lewis, paid him $1,000 the first time. He paid him $10,000 the second time. Now, I don't know, and I know other people that he's paying. If you're doing a good job, you would not have to pay anyone for you to support you. Am I right or wrong?
Correct.
Excuse me, people, I'm just getting over a cold. And so here's the thing, too. Next year they get to redo the district lines. And so those of you that are being paid, you about to vote yourself into insignificance. You about to pay yourself. You vote for Wayman Newell. You don't have children here. Your children either dead or they're not here. And it's sad for you to vote for him and you're not looking at what he's doing. The only thing I'm asking you to do, hey, look at his report card. When he start asking you, hey, if you need me for anything, hey, I don't need you for anything. Tell me what you've done in the 12 years that you've been representing me. Ask Wayman Newell that question there and hold his feet to the fire. I got to talk about Michael Grace, folks. Michael Grace is running for district attorney, and they arrested him. They arrested him for contempt of court. Primo did that. See, that's the reason why we gotta have people running against these folks. If somebody had been running for him every other 4 years that he had to be in office, he wouldn't be like that. And all the time I know Judge Primo being in office, I have never known him to. Now, I ain't been keeping up with it. Now, he may have done it. I never known him to have done that before. Put someone in jail.
Put somebody in jail for contempt.
For being late. And then say gonna put a bar complaint up, folks. You can see how political this is. Michael Grace obviously must have an excellent chance at winning this district attorney race. What you think, TC? Something's going on. They don't like it when you upset the apple cart, folks.
He must have, man, for him to be targeted that way.
Yeah, and that's sad that Judge Primo did that. He would never get my vote again. Even if he's the only one running, if he's running against himself, I'm not going to vote for him, folks. Somebody needs to run against Judge Primo and remind him that his position is an elected position and he should not use it for political purposes. I'm not saying he did that. It's just my opinion that he did. It's my opinion. Understand, folks, this is my opinion that he done that. And for his John Compton, he wasn't fired. His contract was not renewed. That's a firing to me. It should have been non-renewed long time ago. Nobody had the balls to do so. And this school board here did. I still think that the school board could do more. I think the superintendent should be fired. I think if a principal's over a school that's failing, that principal should be fired. People should be held accountable. If that school teacher is teaching those children and they're not teaching them, they're not able to pass the 3rd grade literacy exam, they're not able, and you cannot promote incompetence. We cannot continue to do that. These are our children that they're doing that. And I tell you, I went to West End Harris, why they have some wonderful teachers and administrators. None of them are like us. None of them like us. Both administrators are white. Most of the teachers are white. All of the teachers' aides are black. And they don't have the proper education to be instructing our children. I'm just telling you the truth. Because we've had issues dealing with substitute teachers and some teachers. And it's sad, and they ain't gonna care about, nobody's gonna care about our children like we do. Is it okay if I read a quote from Kwame Ture? Stokely Carmichael, for those of you that don't. If I am not for myself, who will be? If I am for myself alone, who am I? If not now, when? And if not you, who? We need an underlying love for black people. Whomever we may be, all power to all the people. Folks, so you understand, all power to all the people. It's not saying all the power to a few people.
But if not now, when? If not now, when is a powerful question, because there seems to be no real sense of urgency. You know, we'll get to it when we get to it, but that's because it's not directly affecting you. You think that it's not directly affecting you, but it is. I mean, we have to have a sense of urgency and come up with solutions to save our community, man. We have to. If getting rid of everybody and starting over again is the solution, then we need to get it done.
I want to elaborate on that a little bit. Getting rid of everyone, I agree totally. I agree with firing all those people that are in charge of our children, that are keeping them stagnant and where they are, and keep the same thing going. They are really upset in this community here. Wayman Newell is afraid. He's going to spend money. He's going to spend a lot of money. He has people that have deep pockets that's going to give him money to give to you, so that you'll put a sign in your yard, so that you'll put a sign in front of your business, so that you'll walk through your neighborhood and tell people to vote for him. These people that are giving him money are not people like me and you. These are white folk, white Republicans, white racist Republicans that are giving him money to pay you. Folks, there's something wrong with that. Don't go for that. When you see one of them Bammers got Wayman Newell sign in the yard, tar and feather, and run their tails out of town. You have no other option but to do that. Well, you don't have to tar and feather and run them out of town. Just when you go in there and vote, exercise your vote for Craig Houston. This is our last chance at the apple. We ain't gonna have no other opportunity to have a person representing us that's like us. And that's gonna lead me to another quote, and I'm gonna go way back old school. Stokely Carmichael. It is a call for black people in their community to unite, to recognize their heritage, to build a sense of community. It is time for black people to define their goals and lead their own organization. Do you understand that, folks? It is time for us to represent ourselves. It's time for us to define ourselves. It's time for us to recognize what our goals are. It's time for us to lead ourselves. We no longer need a white master leading us. It's just simple as that. Of course, this is dealing with business too. I just thought I'd turn to TC. What you got to say about that?
I think we have everything we need. We, the African American community, or African American people, have everything we need. We just have to have the discipline. We have to have the know-how. We have to have a structure in place of how am I supposed to make this happen. What am I supposed to do? Like we need the tools collectively as a whole. We need the tools and the system put in place to say what am I supposed to do? Well, first of all, every time you spend your dollar, if it's a black-owned business that has that service, you need to spend your money with them.
That's right.
For every service that you need, as long as they're treating you right, as long as they're giving you great customer service and all of these other things. But don't hold them to the fire, and you don't hold the corner store. You don't hold the other stores in the community of people that treat you any kind of way. You have to hold them to the same fire. But you have to spend your dollars with each other. That's one thing. The other thing is we do have to unify, sit down and see what that looks like.
That's right.
Because we don't have to agree. And I think a lot of times we get in our own way because we feel like we have to agree with each other just so we can sit at the table with each other and come up with a solution to a problem. Let's figure out how to solve the problem, which the economic problem that you were talking about as far as the black churches. Let's sit down with the black churches and say, look, this is what this looks like because it's been done before. They started the bank before, which was a credit union. So if you did it before, you can do it again. Let's sit down. Let's make that happen. Get our own banks, our own credit union. And that's one step. But we don't all have to agree on the same doctrine, the same religious beliefs or whatever. But we all have to do something to show our children. We always talk about parents. But don't you know that children are watching more than just the parents?
That's right.
They're watching the preachers. They're watching the people in church. They're watching the young man walking up and down the street. They're watching everybody. That's how I learned. I watched everybody in my community, and I took bits and pieces from them to say, okay, well, all right, this dude, he a drunk, but he's a great artist. I don't want to be the drunk, but I'm going to take on the artist piece and see if I can kind of tap into that. This dude is a great whatever. I don't want to do that, but I like the way he dressed. So let me take that from him. These children are taking bits and pieces from all of us, not just their family. The village is important, and we have to figure out a way to get our economics together, build good relationships with each other so we can have this trust factor that we don't have in the African American community.
And I agree with you on that. We have to unite, and it's so much prejudice and discrimination and piousness and bigotry in the black churches against other black churches. I see that as a problem. That's the first thing they need to start realizing, because you make $60,000 a year, you know better than the person who makes $6 a year don't make anything. If you all have the same Bible, you got the same book, you're preaching the same religion, you say it is one God, and if God ain't gonna like ugly, if God ain't gonna like any of these things, why are you acting in that manner? How is it that you think that you're better than your next person? When Jesus set an example for all of you, because he went down in the mire, he went down in the mud, he went down into the river. He did all these things. All this is an example of how you should lead. That we got to go where we need to go in order for our people to be okay. It's simple as that. Going into the lion, then it's not literally going in there fooling with a lion. You lost your mind. But it's going where you need to go, no matter how violent it is. If our people in there, we got to go in there and rescue our people. That's what this is all about. We got to go and rescue our people. We got to unite. How about Bob Luke done filed a lawsuit against Western Lenderman and about 50 other people? Bob Luke, too, is upset about the Apple Cart. See, the establishment people is upset. Now, you got to look at all this. Don't pay any attention to all that wonder dressing. You got to look deep and see what's actually going on. We have an opportunity now to turn the apple cart over. Like Jesus, I'm going to use that. Jesus went into the temple and turned the tables over against the scribes and the Pharisees. We have an opportunity now to turn those tables over. The tables of change. We have an opportunity now to create a new type of change. With Michael Grace, we have a new opportunity. I know a lot of you see my sign out there with Cassie Coleman and everything, but I tell you folks, it's something that's really, really, it's really stressing me out, because I don't like to, understand, jump off the bandwagon, so to speak. But one of the things that bother me is that I look at the sentencing that are taking place under this administration now and under the past administration, and it seems with this administration that we have in place now, we getting more of the same. And it seems like with Michael Grace, we'll have an opportunity to get something new, that we'll be able to get some sense of fairness. And what we don't want is, we don't want corruption in the courtroom. Man, it's sad what happened to the Andracchio family. Right. It's really, really, really sad. I mean, it's sad. Now, this ain't nothing that just now started happening, people. This is the first time I'm knowing something happened to.
The list goes on and on and
on in our community. Goes on and on. It started with Bilbo, and he was a Democrat. So, folks, you can't get caught up in parties all the time. He ran as a Democrat. I guess that goes back to the Dixiecrats. But the thing of it is that we can't get caught up in party. We got to look at what a person's going to do for us in our community. We have a lot of problems. So we need something to be done. We need something to take place. We need change in our community. We need Wayman Newell to go. We don't need him representing us. We need somebody like us in our community for us that's going to understand what's going on with us to get things right for us. We cannot trust him to do that for us because he hadn't done that in 12 years.
We have to get that done. Yeah. And that goes back to that sense of urgency. So, register, vote, and let's make this happen, because the only way anybody can get in office is if they're voted in.
And folks, I want you to remember to like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Type in Reaching Out with Eddie. Tell all your friends, We're going to do flyers and everything. We just get going. But I want you to like and subscribe. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. We got our own website. That's reachingoutwitheddie.com. If you want to email us, you can email us at reachingoutwitheddie@yahoo.com. On YouTube, type in Reaching Out with Eddie and then subscribe to our channel. You'll see that best looking picture of a man you ever saw in your life. You ain't talking about TC. I'm not talking about Dice either. I'm talking about me. But anyway, Eddie Reach Out on Twitter. If you're on Twitter and you want to type in Eddie Reach Out, and it'll come up also. So you can post your comments. And I'm actually be respectful. I really don't care. Understand that children and everybody look at this. Folks, is it okay if I read another quote from?
Sure.
Folks, you understand that when Kwame Ture wrote this, he wrote this in the 60s. If a white man want to lynch me, that's his problem. If he got the power to lynch me, that's my problem. Racism is not a question of attitude, it's a question of power. Folks, do you understand that? TC, I'm going to let you talk about this. If he has the power to lynch me, that's my problem. You understand what I'm saying? If he got this power, I had to give it to him. I'm not taking it from him.
And as I said 3 or 4 times today, we have to do it ourselves. We have to recognize and identify that we have the power to do it ourselves. From an economic standpoint, we have the power. From an educational standpoint, we have the power. From just cleaning our communities, we had the power. For voting, we had the power. We have the power and the resources. People are not coming into African-American communities getting rich because we don't have money. Like, how is everybody trying to sell us on there's no money in the African-American community when everybody profits off the back of African-American? We have the power. All we have to do is organize and get it together and figure out how we can make this work collectively, because we do have the power.
And we do. And understand that when anyone, any person, anybody does anything to you, it's because they have the power to do so. And if you give them that power, then you perpetuate your own demise. You're doing that to yourself. I want to say hi to my friends out in California, out in Las Vegas. George, are you watching this? Reverend Mitchell out in Las Vegas. We went to school together. If he's watching this, hey, George. George, next time call in and tell us what's going on in Las Vegas. People, I want to thank you for listening in. This here was like an impromptu show. We'll be back Thursday. I think Craig Houston's going to drop by Thursday, but we're going to try to have a guest for you every Thursday. Right now, I'm saying that my co-host is TC. Thank you. Could you anything you want to say to the people before we close out?
What I will say is leave your comments. Make sure you email. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel, and let's figure out with these comments how we can solve some of these problems in our community. and what we need to do, and teach us, tell us, show us something as well. You know, we don't have all the answers, but the community and the people do, because it's affecting all of us. So thank you for this this opportunity. I greatly appreciate it.
And thank you for saying it. Folks, I want to say this about our recent election. When I no longer vote in District 2. Craig Houston is a friend of mine. I value his opinion. And he ran, when I say a strong, clean race. Folks, to show you how every vote count, because of 2 votes, it was a runoff. Just 2 votes caused a runoff. And so every vote is important. When you think that it's not, it is. And here's what I want to say to everyone that ran and was not successful. We want to thank you for running. Thank you for picking up that yoke and doing that, because a lot of people are afraid to do so. But now is the time for us to circle the wagons and have a blue wave. I'm tired of people treating us with indifference and saying we cannot come together. We cannot do a write-in vote. We cannot do a write-in vote. We cannot get angry and go home. I lost. Robbie Robinson stomped me, if I could just use that type of vernacular. Right. Guess what? I voted for him when it came back. I didn't say anything. Oh, yeah, I fought. I said he was senile and everything, because, you know, him and I, we're okay now. I talked to him, you know, and I apologize for some of the things I said. But the thing of it is that it's time for us now to circle the wagon. I know that Cornelius Parks ran a strong race. I know that Lolo Allen, Loretta Bennett ran a strong race. And I would hope that all of you continue to support Democratic causes and support Democratic candidates. It is not time to sell our vote at all. It's not time for us to be angry about not winning. It's not time for us to bring up the past, because we cannot create any type of reality in the past. Only thing we can do is learn from it. And I encourage anyone that ran for office and was not successful this time, look at Percy Bland. He ran the first time. Correct. And he was successful the second time. And mentioning Percy, I'm going to go out with Percy. Y'all can't fault Percy for everything that's been happening in Meridian, Mississippi, because Meridian, Mississippi ain't just got like it has overnight. Right. It's been 30, 40, ever since Reconstruction, if you tell the truth. So while Percy has not done all the things that I think he could have done, everything that's going on in Meridian is not his fault. He inherited a lot of that. Now, Percy, you spent too much money, and there's a lot of other things going on. I think, and I'm going to say this over the air, I think that Percy Bland can be reelected, and I believe that, because he can be, because nothing taking him out of office. And the reason why I say he can be reelected, but it's going to be an uphill battle. He's going to have to make some hard choices. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You're going to take some hard choices, and you got to get rid of some people. It's simple as that.
Well, maybe.
And I think one of the things that he made the mistake, he does not have the most qualified person in every position that it needs to be. I like Chief Dubose, but I think Chief Dubose, it's time for him to retire. I really do think so, and that's just being candid. I don't like the fact that the sheriff, I think 3 or 4 sheriff deputies just got awards for giving out more seatbelts and speed and GUIs in the city of Meridian than anybody else. Even Meridian hadn't had the opportunity to do any, because we have such a heavy presence of sheriff deputies inside the city limits. You think they don't have a county, man. That ain't number racism.
I would like for somebody to break that down for me, how the county ended up serving more tickets, citations than anybody in the city. The city.
Because that's all they focus on.
How do they even come into the city and dominate the city that way? Who allowed that? And how did that happen?
Well, I think that the mayor could do more, and I think the chief of police could do more. But it's sad that you all, it represents my mother. And I talked about this earlier, how sweet my mother was and how many people was there and came to show her the respect. Solid's a racist. If he wasn't a racist, he wouldn't have racist deputies working for him. Man, they got a real bad attitude. All they do is be in the black community. They don't be in the white community. They don't be out in the county. When I was campaigning out in the county, I did not see a deputy sheriff at all. Every time I see a police car, 9 times out of 10 is a deputy sheriff inside the city limit. And it should not be like that, Solid. You are a racist. You promoting a racist agenda. And your sheriff deputies, not all of them, most of them, especially the white ones, are racist. And they have a racist and a nasty attitude. They're confrontational. I'm surprised they hadn't shot anyone. I witnessed this the other day. I witnessed a sheriff deputy at the old Pizza Hut on 8th Street up in Whitney. Me and my children, on Friday. We was going to witness, and I witnessed this. We park closer to Vic's, so we got a long way to walk.
Right.
And so you hear the sheriff go whoop whoop and turn his siren on. Now that make me look. And so he does this instantly, and he's going about 40 or 50 miles an hour. He goes around the traffic, and he comes in and he T-boned that guy on the corner of his car, hit him and knocked the hell out of him. He hit him, folks, and knocked the hell out of him. And this guy, I'm telling you, the sheriff deputy was headed toward Highway 19. I call it north, but it's not 19 north. It's actually going west. He was headed he was on 30th Martin Luther King, headed toward 38th Avenue. So he was going north. We don't call it north, folks. He headed north, but he ended up pointing back in the direction he's coming. He hit him just that hard. No damage done to the car. You understand they had those ramming bars on the front. He rammed that guy in the corner. It crunched it in that corner, the passenger side corner, and tore the bumper off and knocked him over there in the barbecue place. I hear the sheriff deputy, and I run across the street. My children gonna go too. My children seen it too, sheriff. I ran across the street because I was a medic in the military, and this guy here, I see the airbag out. Sheriff deputy telling him, "Didn't you see my lights?" I said, "Man, you ran a red light." He said, "You're right, I did." He admitted to me but I seen it. Even the guy inside the store seen it. But the first thing he gonna do, I'm a sheriff. You see my lights, wow. But I don't even think it was an emergency because at no time I hear, "Hey, I just had a wreck. I need for y'all to send somebody else and take care of this, whatever that's going."
So did he stay there?
He stayed there, but my point of it is that he did not yield the right of way. Emergency vehicles cannot run through a red light. They have to approach cautiously, and when the right of way is clear, then go through. He did not do that. Whoop, whoop, and went through the red light. And he hit that guy. That guy had the right of way. Hit him like so, knocked him over this way, and he spun around and pointed the other way. No damage on the sheriff's car. And of course, everybody come and I gave statement. But that's the kind of attitude they have. They run roughshod inside of the city in the black community. Now, you don't see them doing this on North Hill Street or anything. I don't care what they used to do when these clubs and things that used to be open on Front Street. Right. They used to make a lot of money doing that. But for them to make that kind of money in the black community, we ain't got it, Sheriff. You giving people tickets that don't have money. Anything, go out there and mess with some of them people that's voting for you in office every year. They love your job you're doing because you ain't oppressing them.
They don't mess with them 700 credit score areas.
No, they don't. They out here messing with people that don't have job, and then the next thing you know, they got a warrant for that arrest in temple court because they can't go to court. They ain't got no money to pay the fine.
You go to city court, man. You don't see nobody in there in three-piece suits.
That's right.
Everybody that I know that's coming to court, they hurting, they struggling themselves, trying to figure out how to just keep everything going. And now they have a bill over their head, a ticket over their head.
And it's sad what they're doing in our community, but we can make a difference. Every vote counts. Let's unify. We need to unify in churches. Y'all need to stop being prejudiced against everyone. You just really, really not to stop. I mean, how is it that you're going to be...
look, somebody take the lead. We talking about the churches and the preachers, and we, giving y'all a hard way to go. Somebody take the lead, man. Call up here, email, something. Let us know when you all are going to meet. You take the lead. You call 20 or 30 pastors. Tell them to call 20 or 30 pastors, and everybody can sit down and we can figure out how we can make this work. Take the lead, man. You be the guy that get this momentum going, get this ball rolling. If you don't like what somebody's saying about the churches and we putting them all in a box, you say, well, we have a good one and we have a good pastor and he don't make $1,500 or $900 a week and he's still loyal and committed, then take the lead, make the phone calls, and get these other people together and let's see how we can change our community.
And I agree with it, and it's not our pastors, and I do know one that doesn't make that, and he's not going to take the lead because he has just that kind of spirit. He's just not going to. But it's not that he's not assertive and not a strong leader. It's just that I'm just telling you how it is. They have this system of stratification, even in the religious community, where one church is better than the other one because of who goes there or what they wear or the kind of car they drive. And it should not be like that at all. All this is designed to separate us and keep us separated. And it's another way of keeping us separated. And we got to come together. We got to unite. Even Kwame Ture knew that more than 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah, I've often tried to reach out, myself and Dice. You know, we tried reaching out to pastors and preachers, and those that showed up, we appreciate them. But I mean, for the most part, 90% of them just turn their head the other way.
That's right. Because they steady getting paid, they don't have any reason to upset the apple cart. Dice, man, I can't say play me a song, but you know it's time for us to go. Dice, thank you. Thank you, TC.
Thank you.
Hey, look here. I want y'all, if y'all like us on, Twitter, like us on YouTube. Send us an email, do whatever you need to do. Remember to tell somebody. The phone number is 601-527-5318. Reaching out with Eddie.com. Reaching out with Eddie at yahoo.com is our email address. Reaching out with Eddie is how you type in on YouTube and Twitter. You can go to the icon on our webpage, and you can follow us on Twitter. Type in from Twitter, Eddie reach out. Wow, Eddie reach out. I'm reaching out to you. So y'all have a good evening. Thank you for listening in.